Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to our 23rd Human Relations Award Dinner, and we are celebrating our 25th year of serving Carroll County with partnerships and goodwill. So, and what I would like for you to do is you could start your dessert and not your dessert, but your fruit and salad. I always start with dessert. I'm thinking everybody else. So I want you to go ahead and start with your salad and your fruit. And Walt is going to play. So thank you. Go ahead.
And before Walt starts, I'm distributing two things. I put a program on everybody's chair, and I've also got the list of our previous recipients. So raise your hand if you didn't get the list. Anybody need one? We're all set? Good, thank you.
We're going to get started with our program. I hope you enjoyed the dinner. I thought it was absolutely wonderful, but I think any dinner I don't have to cook is wonderful. And first, I'd like to thank Walt Michaels for the music that he played during the dinner. Walt, would you like to come up and say a few words?
Thank you, Virginia. It's an honor to be here, and I'd like to introduce the fine banjo player, Rob Caswell. And Rob and I are the people who sit in the office at Common Ground on the Hill 24/7 to make that happen. Rob was a student of mine, class of 2004, and in the honors program, went to South Africa to do his capstone project on spiritual music, church music from South Africa, and then went to Thailand and did 3 sojourns in Thailand teaching English, came back fluent in Thai, and with a beautiful Thai wife and a little 4-year-old daughter named Hannah, who graces our office from time to time. At Common Ground on the Hill, we believe that through the arts, we have a lens through which we can see one another in a great light. Through the arts, we break down barriers, unnecessary ones. And we're able, through the arts, to have conversations that are difficult conversations. We've been doing this for 21 years now, and people who come to mind who helped us in this journey are Ira Zepp and Del Palmer, both of who served here, and the fine work of Roxana Harlow, and the great work of the Silver Oak Academy, the wonderful things that are happening here in the county. And we have, I don't know how many of you know this, but we have generally close to 100 Carroll County public school teachers who come to Common Ground to learn about diversity through this lens instead of through a PowerPoint. They come to learn West African dance, Southern Appalachian banjo, art from the Southwest, from the borderlands. So we're really happy and feel profoundly lucky to be in this county doing this work, and that it has worked for 21 years. We have a festival at the Arts Council, at the Farm Museum, and we have 2, the Deer Creek Fiddlers Convention and the Common Ground on the Hill Festival, and Common Ground on the Town. So we urge, how many of you have been to a Common Ground event? Good. Well, the rest of you, we welcome you. And the concept of Common Ground is that everybody's opinion counts. We live in a society where we are divided. And that's unfortunate, because in the teachings of Dr. King in Nonviolence, it says that everybody shares a piece of the truth. And from those pieces, no matter how far apart they may be, if we can honor that in one another, we have the chance to make some common ground and to be the society that we all want to be. We honor some very special people here tonight, and this is the year of the celebration of Selma. I thought that maybe we could sing this song together. I don't know how many of you have sung this song. It's an old hymn, and it was certainly sung on the bridge at Selma. I first heard it in a bus in North Carolina, where we had been thrown out of a restaurant in Cherokee, North Carolina, because there was an African American dining with us, actually an African. And we surrounded the restaurant. We were just a bunch of young church kids, MYFers, and sang, "In Christ there is no east or west, in Him no north or south, just one pure fellowship of man throughout the whole wide earth." So the music is powerful stuff. We invite you to come to Common Ground and take classes. If issues of race and diversity are too much, you can just learn to play the banjo. Or you can paint a picture, or do a mosaic, or watch some films. We welcome everyone. So in honor of the Lewises, I'd like to sing this song, and the way this song works is that until everyone is singing, we keep singing the song. You know it? We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we are not afraid today. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we'll walk hand in hand someday. Let's hear that banjo ring, Rob. One last time. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday.
Thank you so much. That was a really great segue into the next part of our program. And with that, I'm going to ask Lynn Wheeler to come up. As I said before, the Carroll County Human Relations Commission is celebrating 25 years of being in existence in Carroll County. And just like Walt just said, it's to bring our county together. Let us work together for the betterment of our county, our kids, our future. This is what we're working towards. And we were trying to think of something we could present to our county, to give to our county, and we don't have any money, so we couldn't come up with a whole lot. So what we decided to do, and you may or may not know, I'm kind of crafty, so. So the craftiness in me, design.
Oh, Virginia. Let's see. There you go. Beautiful.
We design. Well, I design this. And I have to tell you, this tells a story because, like it says, Carroll County Human Relations Commission celebrates 25 years of service and partnership. And that's what we do. We partner in our community. This is a phenomenal thing about this community, is that we work together for the betterment for our community. And if you notice, this is plaid background, and that's because we were trying, when the Human Relations Commission started, we were trying to come up with a color that represent us. And every color we came up with, someone else had it. So finally we said, you know what, plaids? You have all kinds of plaids. We don't care how you put a plaid together, it comes out correct, it's beautiful. So we chose the plaid, and you can see this is the plaid. And we have the Sykesville South Carroll Rotary Club. Well, we are a volunteer commission, and we really don't have any money. And when the budget was cut, we didn't worry because we didn't have a budget, so it didn't matter. But the Sykesville Rotary Club heard about us, and they invited me to come to speak, and they gave us $800. And that was about 20 years ago. And then they called me back the next year, and they gave me another $800. We are still using that money today to put this dinner on and do whatever we do. We're still using it. So that's what the South Carroll Rotary Club did for us, and we greatly appreciate it. And I had to join because they were so great to us and they helped us. And then was HSP, and for those of you who know the history or do not know the history, when the Human Relations Commission was started in Carroll County, it was sanctioned by the county, and something happened one day and they kicked us out. They took the seal back and we didn't have a home, and HSP gave us a home. And I remember Sylvia Cannon was head of HSP, and I ran into her a couple years after that. I said, Sylvia, you know we've been in existence for 10 years now. She said, Virginia, I didn't think it was going to last 10 minutes, let alone 10 years. And here we are 25 years later. And we have the Carroll County Public School. And we partnered with the Carroll County Public School because when I first got on the commission, a lot of our complaints was about the public school. And what it was misunderstanding. It was just the communication wasn't there. And we partnered with the school system. And we have been partnering with them for a number of years. I don't remember how many, but we started the first multicultural leadership conference with the Carroll County Public School. And then out of our organization, we was called in one day because there was some racial things going on in the county, and we got together with all the ministers and Human Relations Commission, and Carroll Citizens for Racial Equality came out of that, and that gave us a segue to work on racial issues. And they've been in existence now for over 20 years. I think it's like 21 years now. And then we partnership with the Carroll County Public Library because we do a lot of networking. and we do programs. We're trying to educate our community about things that we hear about. And we do it with the sanction of the library. We've had some wonderful, wonderful programs, and the support that the library give you, I can't even tell you how much support they give us. And we've met so many authors, and it's so many things going on. It's absolutely speaks volume for our community. And then we have the Mary and Ira Zepp Center of Nonviolence. And like when we did the leadership conference, Ira Zepp will always work with us. And it's funny about this county, anybody that ever met or came in contact with Ira Zepp, once you meet them, you'll know it. They don't have to say anything, but you'll know that they met Ira and they understood who Ira was. And this is kind of out a little bit because actually Common Ground on the Hill should be up here, but I didn't want to put the greens together. So I slipped the NAACP in here. But I'm going to talk about Common Ground on the Hill first because Walt has been a staple for us. And some years he comes, and some years he doesn't come. But it doesn't matter. We always put him on the program. If he comes, it's wonderful. If he doesn't come, it's fine. But he has been very faithful to us in helping us with our program and his program of Common Ground on the Hill. And then when the NAACP started, I mean, we're happy to have NAACP, and we partner with them, and we've done many programs together. We're like sisters, right, Jean? I was so happy when Jean Lewis became president, I didn't know what to do. And I said to her, I said, you know what? Your only problem is you need a Jean Lewis to help you. Every other president had a Jean Lewis. Jean Lewis doesn't have a Jean Lewis. And then the Media Center. I thank you so much for all the support that you've given us. And you come out every year, and we greatly appreciate that community, that communication that you're sending out for us, and you're telling people that we exist in the work that we're doing. And I always know when it's on because people are like, I saw you on television the other day. So I was like, okay, it's out there. And then we have McDaniel College that we've worked with for many years, and I mean, they're extraordinary because they donate the programs for us every year, and we've done programs at McDaniel. Because like I said, we don't have money. We physically don't have the money to do these programs, but somehow every year we do these programs and we find money by some miracle, and it's truly a miracle that we find the money to do what we do to serve our community. And last but not least, we have the Carroll County Local Management Board, which is another organization. I remember when they started, when Paris Glendening was governor, and we worked so hard to get it started. And they had a diversity committee, and we became a part of that committee, and we worked together with them. And the only name that is not on this banner and should be is New Windsor Service Center, because we have had the dinner here for approximately about 21, 22 years. And they make it so comfortable for us and easy for us to put our program on. And we want to truly thank them, and I think a couple times we have thanked them for that. And with this banner, we're presenting it to the library, and they're going to put it in one of the branches in my Eldersburg Library, because I think it's the mostly used library in the county, right?
And it also has the most wall space.
So this is what we're presenting to the public library, and I thank you.
We are honored. We are honored. Well, very honored, and we, as you know, Virginia's amazing talent at work here. This is a very, very special piece. So we're honored to be the home for the community to see it and experience it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that for us. Okay, I have to get my glasses on there and go. We're going to ask Mr. Guthrie to come up. And while he's coming up, I have to let you know that we have 3 people here that was representative with our some of our leaders. We have Heather Campbell from Senator Ben Cardin's office. She's not here, but she's responded, and she said she would be here. And then we have Melissa Joseph, Congressman Van Hollen's office. And we have Julianne M. Albertwitz from Barbara McCoskey's office. And we're going to ask you to come up. Oops. Thank you.
Do you want to start by announcing your presenting?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to say that Mr. Guthrie is the superintendent of Carroll County Public School. Everyone knows that. And I don't know if everyone knows it or not, but he is the superintendent of the year for the state of Maryland. Is it 14, 15? And we're so proud of it, and we're so proud of him, and I think he gets so embarrassed every time we mention it. So we try to mention it as much as we could. But so I think it's absolutely a wonderful, wonderful honor to have him as our superintendent. And under his leadership, we now have a principal of the year, the state of Maryland, from Francis Scott Key, John Bulger is the principal of the year at one of our schools. And we also have a counselor whose name I cannot remember. What's her name?
Put me on the spot.
Okay, so I don't feel bad. But we have she's the counselor of the year from Ed Valley. So, I mean, that speaks volume of what's going on in Carroll County and under Mr. Guthrie's leadership. And he is currently serving with as the president of Superintendent Association of Maryland. And he is currently serving as his 5th year as superintendent of Carroll County Public School. Mr. Guthrie places a strong emphasis on closing the achievement gap, recruiting, retaining a diverse workforce, and building cultural proficiency. During his tenure, Mr. Guthrie has developed a 5-year organization plan entitled Vision 2018, and that is this flyer that each one of you have on the table, so if you could take it home. It's an extraordinary piece of work for our students. And this is to, I lost my place. So while developing the plan, he worked with all segments of the community to make certain that the plan reflects the community's commitment to education and the school system. Mr. Guthrie is a dedicated leader and advocate who truly cares about our community and the education of our children. And that's why we are presenting him with our award tonight. And Julianne is presenting him with this citation.
Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you to everyone here. I had a truly enjoyable meal, and it's my honor and privilege to represent United States Senator Barbara Mikulski, who today, in case you have seen it, was in Boston to open the Ted Kennedy Center with the president. Superintendent Guthrie, come over here. I don't bite, sir. I have a senatorial certificate to present to Stephen Guthrie on the occasion of your 2015 Human Relations Award and special recognition honoring you as Carroll County Public Schools Maryland Superintendent of the Year. Congratulations. It's signed Barbara Mikulski, United States Senator, on this, the 30th of March, 2015.
Thank you. Thank you.
What a title. Well deserved. Want to say something?
Yeah, is there another one? Is there anybody else presenting anything?
No, except for me. Julianne, don't go in.
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate the recognition and the honor. But I will tell you, I accept this recognition and Maryland Superintendent of the Year recognition for our school system. I am very privileged to be its superintendent, and it is as a result of community. Any great organization has a community behind it, and Carroll County certainly does. And I am very fortunate to be in this position and accepting these recognitions for Carroll County Public Schools. We have a wonderful, dedicated community, not only this organization, but other organizations, social organizations throughout the county. We have committed parents. We have, for the most part, interested students. And we have a wonderful, dedicated education staff across Carroll County Public Schools. And I'll just share just a couple statistics with you. We have the highest graduation rate across the state, the highest. Now, there is a law that I joking will play with a little bit. The Federal Rights and Privacy Education Act prevents me from saying that we have a graduation rate higher than 95%, because somebody might be able to figure out who graduated and who didn't if you give a statistic higher than 95%. So if I told you our graduation rate was over 98%, it would be a great accomplishment. And our dropout rate is less than 1%. So that is not a statistic that we share alone. That is a statistic that's a metric for the community. Parents send their children to school, make sure that they go to class, and make sure they graduate. We could not do that without the parents and the organizations like this. And one of the things that helps me in my position as superintendent is I know who to call when I need help. I have lots of friends I can phone, and I do. And this organization is only one of them. And Virginia mentioned early on, when we have issues at the school that need to be taken care of, this is one of the organizations that I call. So thank you very much for this honor from Senator Mikulski and this recognition. I'll accept it again on behalf of Carroll County Public Schools.
And on behalf of the Carroll County Human Relations Commission, we would like to present you with this.
Wow, thank you again. Thank you again.
Thank you. Jean Lewis, would you like to come up? We're not going to read her bio because you're going to talk about her, right? So we're not going to.
We're all going to talk. Talking about her for years.
But I have to tell you, Jean Lewis is my friend. I was so happy when Jean came on the scene. I was like, yay. We got somebody else on our team. Jean is a phenomenal young lady. And we do so many things together. Sometimes we go to meetings. Jean and I go to two or three of the same meetings every day. And we always have something to talk about. We're always just so pleasant. And we have a lot of fun. And we actually, last summer, we went on the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. We went and spent the whole day together, and it was always fun, just absolutely wonderful. And this county is so happy to have you as part of all that we do. And on behalf of the Human Relations Commission, I am going to present you with our Human Relations Award. And then,
Didn't invite him up.
and then John, I'm sorry, John, come on up. I wanted to talk about John a little.
Oh, I'm
separately.
sorry. I'm sorry. I only brought one certificate for both of them. That's why I wondered where John was at. So I figured you'll share it with your husband, right? How wonderful. I don't know if you ever had a couple before tonight to do this together. I spent about 15 years in politics in a little town in Clear Spring as the vice mayor, and my husband, who was the mayor. So we were kind of the first couple of the town. So I would like to congratulate you as being the first couple of the Human Relations Commission. Thank you. So that's a great honor.
Thank you.
It works so much better when you can do this together as husband and wife. This senatorial certificate is presented to Jean and John Lewis, and this is on the 2015 Human Relations Award for your distinguished and devoted service as president and past president. Who was president?
I'm current president for 9 years.
And your past president? Okay. We got that straight. Of Carroll County NAACP Branch Number 7014. Congratulations, signed Barbara Mikulski, United States Senator, on this, the 30th of March, 2015.
Thank you.
She's got the trophy, you get the certificate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wants to speak now? I'd just like to thank everyone who came out this evening for us to receive this award. It's kind of hard to think about the 9 years I've spent as president. And John will say, "Are you going to run again this time?" I said, "Yeah, I guess I will. I've got work I want to see completed." Part of the main thing that we've done is the relationship that we have with Carroll County Public Schools. And so I guess I'll be working at that for a while. But I just want to thank the Human Relations Commission for this award, because it really is nice to be recognized for the work that you've done. I didn't start in this venue working until, I guess, 2001, when I retired, and it saved my mind because I didn't know what to do with myself. But I just want to thank everyone.
Who, me? Oh. Well, first off, I want to thank Barbara Mikulski for this certificate. But Mrs. Alvarez, when you go back, I'd like for you to tell her that the next time I want my own certificate. Okay. Oh, it's in the mail? Okay. I mean, after all, this sharing stuff only goes so far. Okay. Now, I want to thank the committee, Human Relations Committee, for this honor. And I'm going to accept this honor on behalf of all the people who helped to make this evening possible, and all the people who helped to make my wife and I whatever you consider us to be, to a degree such that you would honor us. An important thing, and I'm not going to talk long, and to that a lot of people are going to go, thank God. But it gives new meaning to the fact that no man is an island. No man walks alone. No one is a self-made man. There's no such thing. And when you go around preaching that story, you're lying to yourself. Because it doesn't make any difference what you are. Doesn't make any difference how high you are. It doesn't make any difference how much money you have in your bank account. It doesn't make any difference how many degrees you have hanging on your wall. You didn't get them by yourself. And that's a message that I'd like for you to leave here and tell the rest of the world. Because I think that we are in trouble worldwide, nationwide, community-wide, because there's so many of us who feel like we are there and we got there solely on our own merits. But we didn't. No man is an island. And when you leave here, tell somebody that. I'm going to take this opportunity also to thank those of you who came tonight. And I want to pay a special thanks, not to leave anybody out, and that's to county commissioners I see out there tonight. I've been coming to these things for a whole lot of years, and I don't remember seeing the county commissioners, but there are 3 of them here tonight. And out of the 3 of those, at least 2 of those fellows, we go back a long ways. I'm not going to tell you how we go back, but we do. And it is I am certainly certainly proud to see them here, and I'd like to thank you. Congratulations once again to Superintendent Steve Guthrie. He said he has a team, and he has a team that he can call on when troubles arise. He has 3 women on that team, and I've said this before. One's to my left, one's to my right, and Patricia Leveroni is not here tonight. But I want to warn you, don't go up against either one of the 3 of them. Because when you do, you've got a fight on your hands. I'm going to conclude tonight by acknowledging, and I'm so proud also that my family is here tonight. My children are here. These youngsters, I'm proud to say, are all educated. They're all self-sustaining. They are youngsters who have sort of traipsed along in our footsteps. They are sort of like Virginia and my wife and myself. When you go up against them, make damn sure you're right. Because they're going to straighten you out. I remember one of my granddaughters had a teacher in high school who was talking about integration, segregation, and so forth. And the teacher was clearly wrong. And she corrected her. And to this day, I don't think the teacher still cares for her, but the teacher was wrong. You see, you do well. You do very well if you're teaching, because you must remember that when to teach is to learn. If you are teaching, the student is learning from you. And you must be wise enough to listen so that you can learn from the student. Because you see, every one of us knows something that someone else doesn't know. But if you don't listen, then you won't learn. So I'm going to, off to my right, and they don't have to stand, they can just raise their hand. My son, our oldest son, who is the owner of J&S Trucking, Jonathan. He's the oldest. I have my daughter, Sharon, and her 2 children, her 2 daughters, Tony and Renee. Renee is working on her master's degree. She is going to be a physician's assistant. Tony graduates from Towson State this year, and she has already been accepted to law school. Emma, my son Damon and his daughter Emma and his son Braden. Emma is working at a restaurant right now, but she's making plans to head on to higher education also. Braden attends private school, where he too is an outstanding individual. They get all of these smarts and all of this wisdom from their mother and their grandmother. I'm just the guy that's there to swing the switch and take all the blame when stuff goes wrong. I just wanted to acknowledge those, and I'm going to conclude. Where's Charles Harrison? Charles, I keep hearing about Gene making you and I great presidents. and she doesn't have a Jean Lewis. So I guess you and I were just plain lucky. Huh? Either that or we just don't count. And finally, in conclusion, again, Virginia, in your organization, I would like to say thanks an awful lot for this award, and thanks for the opportunity to say thanks to each and every one of you who came. And may God bless you, each and every one, on your journey home. Thank you.
We're going to have Pam Zappardino come up and be the speaker, and I don't know how you're going to follow that.
Following John Lewis is always a tough task. I've heard him preach without a license many times, but none better than tonight. But I'll give it my best shot. When I was asked to be here tonight and to speak about John and Jean Lewis, I thought, wow, what can be said about John and Jean Lewis? Well, it turns out there's quite a bit that can be said about John and Jean Lewis, so relax, sit back. It's going to be a little while, because to talk about what John and Jean have done for this community is not a short story. When I ask people, what do the names Jean Lewis and John Lewis mean to you in Carroll County, the first thing they say is NAACP. And when I ask people what the NAACP is or what it does, they're a little more confused. I think we've forgotten some of the history of the NAACP. We've forgotten that Brown versus Board of Education was the result of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and Thurgood Marshall arguing before the Supreme Court. We forget about Rosa Parks, the secretary of her branch. We forget about the state chapter president, Medgar Evers. These are the NAACP as it was working back in the 50s and 60s. The NAACP is just as relevant today as it was then. As you've heard, Jean has been president for 9 years of the NAACP, and John before her. That doesn't mean they go to an occasional meeting. That means that they were out there and are out there in the community constantly responding to questions about issues, asking people what the realities are in this county, in the schools, in the government, in the local organizations and businesses. What does diversity look like in this county? What does cultural competency look in this county? And how can we make improvements every day, every month, every year? So being the president of the NAACP is more like a full-time job than it is a volunteer activity. But for John and Jean, it was more than that. It's also a labor of love and something that is near and dear to their hearts. Some other really important things about John and Jean. They've been married for more than 36 years, which I think is a pretty good record. They have a blended family of 6 children, some of whom you've met, 11 grandchildren, some of whom you've met, and 5 great-grandchildren. That's a legacy that will go on into future generations. Now, I'm going to separate Jean and John a little bit, because if I try to talk about them together, it's going to get really confusing. So, Jean has a number of organizations she works very closely with. One is the Community Media Center. This year, Jean was, I believe the title was Most Valuable Board Member, at the Community Media Center. She served on their board for a number of years, and she works tirelessly on programming for the Community Media Center. She has been a stalwart worker on the Carroll Remembers Project, Carroll County Through the Eyes of the Black Experience. Histories and testimonies of African American members of our community and folks who weren't African American but worked closely with that community are being preserved as part of this historical archive, thanks to a lot of Jean's work. More recently, she spearheaded another video archive project, African American Trailblazers of Carroll County, looking at people of color in this county who have been among the first to achieve different positions, different honors, different things that have been important to moving the county forward. She's not done yet. Next up, she's going to be collecting oral histories of Black churches in Carroll County. And I'm sure that will turn into another video project. And any of you who are interested in these programs can go to the Community Media Center website, pull them up, and you would be amazed at the amount of history, at the stories, at the things you don't know about the county where you live until you see these. Jean mentioned working with the Carroll County Public Schools. It's not just being a member of a PTA when her children were in school or of going to an occasional school board meeting to talk about an issue. I think, Steve, you may have to think about payroll here for as much as Jean does with the Carroll County Public Schools. I'm going to list some of it, and I'm sure I'm going to miss some. She, a couple of years ago, worked with a committee to develop the Minority Family Forums with the Carroll County Board of Education. These were meetings that moved around the county, asking families of color, families who spoke languages other than English, to come and talk about the issues that were of concern to them in the public schools. And in partnership with the public schools, this group was able to provide wonderful feedback that's still informing what is going on in our schools today. She has been a Carroll County Public Schools parent guide. It means she is someone that parents can call and ask questions if they don't understand something, and they may not feel real comfortable walking into the Board of Education. There are parent guides in our county, thanks to some of the work Jean has done. She was a member of the Carroll County Gang Task Force. She is the co-chair of the Education That is Multicultural Council. This is a group of community members in our county that are tasked with making sure and overseeing, monitoring how our county schools are doing in terms of meeting the multicultural requirements that exist in our state. She was a member of the Disproportionate Minority Representation Committee. And one of the things that's been very near to her and that she has worked for years on is traveling with the public schools to recruitment events all around the country where people who are looking for teaching positions are coming to conferences, are coming to gatherings. And her purpose there is to help our school department become as diversified as possible in terms of recruiting, hiring, and retaining minority candidates for jobs as teachers and administrators. She goes to meetings of the National Alliance of Black School Educators, again, doing much of the same work. She's on East Middle School's Community Outreach Committee. She's on the Carroll County Public Schools Diversity Leadership Committee. And for some of this work, she was recognized by the Maryland State Department of Education with an Excellence in Minority Achievement Award. Whew. This is all volunteer work, folks. Some other things that Jean does in her spare time. She's a member of the Carroll County Human Relations Commission. That's us tonight. She is on the Board of Directors of Human Services Programs. She's served on the Local Management Board. She's a member of Carroll Citizens for Racial Equality. She is a board member of the Community Services Council for Carroll County. At the Carroll County Public Library, she was recognized as a reader leader a few years back. She has worked with the Carroll County Board of Elections, recruiting minority election judges. And right now, she is working on planning the dedication of the Henryton Hospital Center down in the southern part of the county. Henryton Hospital housed a school, a nursing school for African American students. And then in what little time she had left, and this is some stuff I didn't know, in the past she's performed with September Song Productions. She sings as a soloist in the Church of God Senior Adult Choir and won the 2004-2006 Soloist. She was the winner for Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, and DC, and actually competed in the Nationals in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And she always wants me to lead the singing. I'm not buying that anymore, Jean. She's also a travel consultant, Jean's Dream Vacations. So look her up. These are a lot of the things Jean has done. When I asked a few other folks to describe Jean, I got some interesting comments. The most common thing people said was that Jean's a bridge, that Jean links groups in the county, that she links communities, not only the African American community with the majority community here in Carroll County, but all communities. She connects the Carroll County Public Schools, city and county government, community organizations. People told me that she fills a niche that no one else could possibly fill here in the county, that she knows how to bring people together. And Jean always knows what's going on. I mean, obviously, when you hear everything she's done, she's everywhere all the time. So she knows what's going on, whether it's in the community, the NAACP. She gets information from people continuously. Everybody calls Jean to find out what they should do about whatever is on their mind. And she hooks them up with who they need to be hooked up with. She thinks about who needs to know what next and make sure that information travels. She knows what needs to be done now. And other things that people told me is that she is on task at all times. She's gracious, she's aware, she's patient, she's kind. And then we move on to Mr. Lewis. Now, John said that he lives by the statement that we've come to know as the Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept things I can't change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, I don't think God's been having to hand out a whole lot of serenity to John, because I haven't ever seen him not try to change something that he thinks needs to be changed. So I don't know about this accepting the things he can't change. Maybe he hasn't found any of those yet. But John, not to give away his age, but he's been on the earth more than 70 years. And He has been working for civil rights for most of that time. He grew up in a poor family of 12. Where were you in that group, John? I forgot to ask you that. The third oldest? Third oldest, so he had lots of little brothers and sisters. Down in Johnsville in Carroll County. And he lived through the stories of the Ku Klux Klan riding through his neighborhood and many other injustices during a time of segregation. At the age of 12, he made a decision not to live the same kind of life that his parents and other folks of that generation lived. He wanted to see things change. John's always accepted a leadership role from his time as a Boy Scout when the other boys picked him to lead the group. And within his family, he started working when he was 8 years old on a local farm. 12 kids is a lot of kids to feed, and John helped out. John attended the former all-black Robert Moton School in Carroll County. He left high school at age 16 to take a full-time job to help support himself and his family, but he later took and passed the GED test and received his high school diploma. After that, he attended night classes for 2 years at Morgan State. Some of the jobs he's done. He's worked for the state of Maryland as a chef and as a licensed practical nurse. He worked with the U.S. Department of Agriculture as a soil and water conservationist and a civil engineer technician. Throughout his employment career, on each of his jobs, he quickly rose to a supervisory position. And the same applies to the job from which he retired. Well, I guess I have to tell you when he retired, at age 77, as a driver supervisor. Now, most of us know that people of color make up a very small proportion, somewhere around 5 or 6% of the population in Carroll County. That didn't stop John from mobilizing people and from working to change things in the county. As a young man, he heard Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. speak and heard a call to action for himself. He was the first president of the Carroll County Human Rights Commission and Task Force. This group was working to desegregate the county in the mid-60s and 70s using fairly simple methods. In teams, black and white, folks would enter restaurants. The blacks would go in first, and if they were not served, they would be followed by the white members of the team to see if they were seated and served. After doing that for quite a while, it began to make things change. People started talking about what was happening. They marched in front of the white movie theater. There were no violence, no arrest, and he talked about using the backdoor approach, talking to desegregate the county, what Dr. King called nonviolence. He worked in all areas to desegregate the county and received not a few threats as a result of the work, some of them death threats. But if you know John, you know that that did not stop him. He was also the first vice president of the Concerned Citizens of Carroll County. In 1963, John went to Washington to march, in the March on Washington in August of that year. He was president of the Carroll County Human Relations Committee, and he formed a youth group called the Pioneers that took part in the Poor People's Campaign in Washington, D.C. That would have been in 1968. John spoke before the Maryland General Assembly in support of the Public Accommodations Law and filed and won 4 equal accommodations lawsuits in the county. He was one of the first black presidents of the county PTA after desegregation. And John joined the all-white social club, the Westminster JCs, in the 1960s. He was elected twice as vice president, was JC of the Month, and won the District 2 Maryland Speak Up JCs contest, and went on to take second place in the state competition. I personally don't understand how in something called a Speak Up contest, you only came in second, John. I would think first place would have been a shoo-in. John was a president and charter member of the nonprofit Housing Ownership Purchase Effort, known as HOPE, which worked to make housing more affordable for low-income black families in the county. During his term, HOPE built 5 new homes and renovated 2 existing ones. We're only up to 1970, people. 1970, John was appointed to the Carroll County School Board by Governor Marvin Mandel, being the first African American to be appointed to that board. John refused the position. He didn't feel he was qualified enough. And he encouraged Governor Mandel to appoint Richard Dixon to that position, which the governor did. In the 1970s, John was a panel member of Conversations in Black and White on WMAR Channel 2, which included the Honorable Perrin J. Mitchell, U.S. Maryland Congressman, and discussed racial issues of importance during that time. John was a friend of Dr. Ira Zepp. As most of you know, Ira was a Methodist pastor and a professor at Western Maryland College, now McDaniel. Ira marched with Dr. King in Selma and wrote his dissertation on the scholarship of Dr. King. And Ira asked John to come into his classes frequently to speak about what it had been like to grow up in Carroll County during segregation, to talk about what the change process had been like, and to talk about how to keep that change process going. While attending Union Street Methodist Church, John was a Boy Scout leader, a lay leader and speaker, choir president, an administrative board chair, and building committee president, and probably unlicensed preacher. In the 1980s, as building committee president, he led the efforts to successfully complete the addition of a new community building that still stands. In 1999, John was working as a truck driver, and he was selected as the Truck Renting and Leasing Association National Driver of the Year, based on a 35-year safety record, as well as his dedication to family, employer, and community. That same year, 1999, Carroll County received back a charter to form an NAACP branch. John became the membership chair and raised the membership to over 200. Since then, as you know, he's served as president, but he's also served as first and second vice president, executive committee member, and is now back to being membership chair. So if any of you would like to especially honor John and Jean, you can see John after this dinner and say, I want to join the NAACP, Carroll County Branch 7014. Did I do that good, John? You bet. Okay. Okay, so John will be happy to take your membership. And membership is power. Amen. And so I'd like to really encourage you all to think about it. One thing I didn't mention about our local NAACP is that we have the most fun meetings going. We talk about really serious stuff. And when you talk about really serious stuff, you need to learn how to have fun. Because if you don't, you'll start to go a little crazy. So, sign up for the NAACP. Working hard as our branch's membership chairperson, John always has membership forms with him and is always asking everywhere he goes, you a member of the NAACP yet? John will talk you into it. While he was president, he helped the branch start a continuing education award to benefit African American high school students from Carroll County Public Schools because he really believes in the importance of an education, as you've heard him talk about his children and grandchildren. During his life, he has mentored many young people. I had the privilege of working with John last year in a group that worked with some young students in our county who had burned a cross in a black family's driveway a year ago this past Christmas. Our job was to talk with the 4 young men about what their actions really meant to the family, to the county, to themselves and their families. John was an amazing presence in those meetings. The students were startled by the fact that he didn't get angry, he didn't attack, he didn't call names. He talked to them about what it felt like growing up in a county where that was much more common. He talked to them about what it would mean to them in the future to realize what they had done. And when he runs into them out in the community, he asks how they're doing. He talks to them about what's happening in their life now. I think they learned something really important from John that will continue to educate them as they grow older. John has also served the City of Westminster as a member of the Community Focus Group, selecting the new police chief a while back. And he also completed the Westminster Police Department Citizens Police Academy. So watch it. Currently, John serves with the Carroll County Health Department on the Cancer Coalition, Cancer Prevention Coalition, and Cigarette Restitution Committee, and currently attends the Westminster Church of God, where he was president of the Ushers and Greeters, and was president of a motorcycle group called the King's Riders. Woo. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. John's won a number of awards. He's been working for over 50 years to make Dr. King's dream a reality by encouraging the civil rights movement in Carroll County and throughout the state of Maryland. In 2004, at the Carroll County NAACP's Freedom Fund banquet, he was recognized with a proclamation from the City of Westminster for his work. He was also recognized with a Maryland State Senate resolution and a State of Maryland Governor's citation. The Maryland State Conference of the NAACP recognized John for his body of work with the Parren J. Mitchell Humanitarian Award at the state 67th Annual Convention in Ocean City in 2007. In May of 2008, the former students of Robert Moton School and friends honored John at their 35th annual dinner. He received this award because of his 50-plus years of leadership in the civil rights movement in Carroll County and the state of Maryland. Some things other folks had to say about John. He is deeply involved in Carroll County. He knows everyone who was involved in the movement here in Carroll County. People who were involved in the sit-ins, people who were the first in so many different fields. He's an admirer of Dr. King, but also the Buffalo Soldiers and the Tuskegee Airmen. He is known for preaching without a license. Charlie said that. I cannot lie, John. He's an eloquent and passionate speaker. A year ago, last January, he spoke about being at the March on Washington to Carroll County school students on Martin Luther King Day at Union Street Church. They were mesmerized. Where am I here? He is a builder and a handyman. He's able to fix things, to make do, and to improvise. And that's not just about building tangible things. That's about addressing and solving all kinds of problems. He has a great sense of humor. He's full of fun and joyous aliveness. He's confident but humble. I don't know about that, but he's confident. John is a kind man. For example, almost every time I'm with him, he volunteers to guard my camera so no one will take it. And I can't thank him enough. It's still with me, and if it weren't for John, I probably would have lost it years ago. So here we have two people's lives that are filled with more activities, more good work, more connections and networks and communications than we can possibly imagine any two people having. If we look at them together, we find true pillars of the Carroll County community. They know everyone and everything there is to know about Carroll County. Charlie and I have been honored to have Jean and John with us on several of the Zepp Center civil rights tours that happen every January. We walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge with them. We have cried with them in the room that Dr. King occupied in 1968 in the Lorraine Motel. These are memories that, for us, will last a lifetime. We were so honored to be with John and Jean and other members of the NAACP chapter who are here tonight at the 50th commemorative walk celebrating the March on Washington. For John, it was the second time he walked that pathway. And just a little side anecdote, it was beastly hot and humid that day. And there was the entry they had open into the mall, I don't think it went from that curtain to where Virginia is standing for hundreds of thousands of people. To say we were packed in like sardines waiting to get through there isn't even close. You couldn't have fit a sardine in between us. And all of a sudden, Jean started feeling a little faint. And so we sort of worked our way through the crowd and got her up next to the fence where at least there was air. And we attracted the attention of some of the security police, and they came over and said, "What's wrong?" And we explained, and they said, "Stay right where you are." Like, where are we going to go? I mean, nobody could move. But they sent in a guy with a bicycle. And using the bicycle, he formed a path. And they said, is this the lady that isn't feeling too well? And John said yes. And they said, well, come on, your group, come with us. So we went marching behind the security guard, and he took us right in. And this was, about 10 minutes after they'd started letting people in. So everybody's looking at us like, who are they? And they still made Jean go through her pocketbook to make sure, she didn't have anything nefarious in there. And they took her to the first aid tent and made her drink an amount of Gatorade that nobody should have to drink. And after that, she was fine. And we were all waiting for her outside. And we'd gotten a lovely place right up close. We had a blanket out for Jean, and she came out of the tent, and we said, "How you doing?" And she said, "Well, I'm feeling fine now." And I said, "Jean, well, we're really sorry that you weren't feeling well, but way to take one for the team." I mean, look at this spot we have. And later, about 4 hours later, I ran into the woman I had been standing next to, and I said, "When did you get through the gate?" She said, "Just now." So we became very good friends with her. But Jean knows how to take one for the team. Jean and John are two people who share a love story and share a life dedicated to service, especially in this community. They can be counted on. They know how to laugh and to have a good time. They know how to take one for the team. And they know the power of yes. And saying yes to the many, many, many things that they have been asked to be a part of has changed this county forever and for the better. I am extremely proud to call them my friends, and I look forward to another 20 or 30 years of being at the same meetings, of marching when it's necessary, of working with the NAACP, because folks, the work isn't done yet. In case you haven't been watching the news in the past months, the past year, the work is not yet done. And if you want to honor John and Jean, yes, you can join the NAACP. I'll put in one more plug. But let's all commit to working for the kind of change that they've worked for their entire lives. I can't think of a better way to honor them. I love you guys.
And also, John and Jean, we have a citation from Susan Crabb's office that I was told to present to you and John. And it says, the Maryland General Assembly official citation, be it hereby known to all, sincere congratulations are offered to John and Jean Lewis in recognition of their tireless work and continued participation in many community-based organizations. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, that's it. Thank you.
Virginia, can I say one more thing? See, I fooled them, didn't I? No, I just want to simply say I forgot two people in the family. My daughter, Sharon, who supervises a dental office here in town, and my son, Damon, who is head chef at Laurel Wasteway and Pimlico. Thank you.
Like I said earlier, Carroll County Human Relations Commission is celebrating 25 years in being in existence. We tried to reach out to a couple of our older members that was a part of this organization, and unbeknown to me that one of our members was Bernie Zirkle, and he passed this year. And I want to wish his family well. We greatly appreciate all the work that he gave us to start this organization. And we have Irene Batawa, who was with us for years. To stand up, Irene. Thank you for being with us. And I'm going to ask the rest of our members, Tom Devaney, Pam Zappardino, and Jean Lewis, and Jackie Thomas. It's part of our organization. And we may be few in members, but we're mighty in the work that we do. And also, you have a list of your table at some of our recipients that we've had through the years, and we have a few here now. Bernie Zirkle is one of our recipients. I mean, not Bernie Zirkle. Bernie Jones, I'm sorry, he's one of our recipients. Pam and Charlie Zappardino. We have Paula Langme, Charles Collier, and Pam Zappardino. Dr. Muhammad Esau, and Walt Michael, and somebody else. Lynn Wheeler. We have a number of, I said Lynn Wheeler. Stan Chase is here. Did he leave? He was here. But we greatly appreciate all of you coming out this evening and joining with us, and I ask you to come back next year. We're always looking at our communities, and I once heard someone say, you know, there is not many heroes these days. And they're wrong. We have many heroes, and a lot of them are in this room. And I thank you for coming out. Dean Minnick, who is one of our commissioners, and Paula Langmead, some of you may or may not know, she's the CEO of Springfield Hospital. And I'm telling you, this woman, I don't even know how she has time to do anything. She's a phenomenal, phenomenal person. And we have Don Whitfield and Bill Hudson for the Sykesville Rotary Club to come out and be with us. And let me see. I hope I didn't other than our commissioners, we greatly appreciate you coming out. We've never had this many commissioners here before. And Mr. Kevin Cloud, he's here from Silver Oaks Academy. And we have Kim Dortch, who was at one time Principal of the Year. She's over there. She's Principal of North Carroll High School. And we have Jimmy Siller, who is the head of HR in Carroll County Public School. And we have Brenda and Carrie Gaddis from the Carroll County Public School there in public relations. And once again, I really want to thank you for coming out, and thank you so much for your patience and helping us celebrate our time this evening. So I thank you, Walt. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next year. Yeah. Oh, sure. If you want that.
On the behalf of Silver Oak Academy, I just want to say thank you for this experience. Really, it's not too often where I get the chance to sit down on a table with so many great people. So thank you, fellas and ladies and gentlemen.
Name is Student Athlete Tony, or you can say Kevin. It's really easy to remember. First, I would like to say I really appreciate to have this opportunity to be able to come and just sit around all these wonderful people and just enjoy this great atmosphere you guys have shared with me here today. I've been working with Mr. Kevin McLeod. He's our director for Silver Oak Academy, and basically he has a nice, positive program and positive, background for us to just put our minds into whatever we want to be in life. Here at Silver Oak Academy, I'm studying, and currently I want to try to get into Syracuse University so I can do cell biology, and then from on just, complete the rest of my life. But once again, I want to say thank you for having us here, and we appreciate it, and we'll be back anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.